morning, I'm Byron Scott with a CTV News update. A major spike in COVID-19 cases in Maryland. Health officials report 897 new cases today. That's the highest number since early August. 9 deaths have been reported over the past 24 hours. Prince George's now leads the state in COVID deaths at 830. Montgomery County has 820 COVID fatalities. Well, the Maryland State Education Association releases a poll on safety precaution. It says teachers want to see in place in school. It comes the same day State Board of Education votes to encourage local districts to reopen in person. Union officials say the poll found that 90% of educators want to see several items in place first, including daily sanitation of schools, adequate ventilation, and PPEs for all students and staff. Other items include reduced class size to help with social distancing and hand sanitizer throughout school buildings. Cheryl Boast is president of the Maryland State Education Association.
But what I found extremely disheartening in the conversation was they're still not talking about how they're going to provide those health and safety supports. They talk about all the guidance they have, but local superintendents are saying we need help to get these in place. Dr. Santalisi from the city is talking about air purifiers for classrooms that cost $800 a piece. We're asking for this checklist to be completed, which calls for everything that the health department is asking us to do. And so the state and the state board continue to say, well, here's guidance, but they're not rolling up their sleeves and helping to do any of these things.
Boast says the poll found that 77% of teachers believe that it is unlikely that schools will be able to physically reopen for in-person learning in the next several months. Well, it was a record-breaking day for voter turnout in Maryland. More than 161,000 people cast ballots yesterday on the first day of early voting. The heavy turnout could be seen around Prince George's County. In Landover, Laurel, and Upper Marlboro, there were long lines of voters waiting to cast ballots.
Well, I want to vote early, and I want to vote in person. I think that's important, and I want my vote to count.
Now I want to make sure that I vote personally and be sure that my vote counts in that way, because I don't know what the mail will do.
Counting mail-in ballots, the state elections board says about 1.1 million votes were tallied after the first days of early voting. Early voting continues through November 2nd. And with early voting underway across the state, the American Civil Liberties Union's Protection Election Campaign has a hotline for voters to ask questions or report problems. The hotline is open from now until the polls close on Election Day at 8 p.m. The campaign is an effort to educate voters about their rights and solve problems at the polls. The ACLU has on-call volunteers ready to investigate serious problems at the polls statewide. That hotline number is 443-399-3229. Well, Maryland is the only state in the nation that gives the governor carte blanche to decide its annual budget. Now a constitutional amendment is before voters that would change the way budgets are drafted in the state. Currently, the General Assembly can make cuts only to the governor's proposed allocations. The legislature can't move funds around or create new categories. In fact, the only thing it can do is decrease funding for specific items in the budget. Ballot question 1, which must be approved by voters, could change all of that.
What this would do would be that it would allow the General Assembly to move items around in the budget, but they would have to keep under the total amount spent that the governor proposed. In addition, it puts in a new provision that would allow the governor to do a line item veto of any changes that the General Assembly made. Right now, the way it works is once the General Assembly passes a budget, that's it. It goes into law without the governor's approval or disapproval. So it gives the governor a little bit, but it does take away a lot of power that office currently has.
Does your organization support this question? Or you said we're the only ones in the union, the only one out of all of the states that has this system currently?
That this idea has been before the General Assembly for decades, and this year it finally passed. And I think part of the reason might be because they put in the line item veto idea for the governor, and also it will not go into effect until 2024.
Well, as mentioned, the constitutional amendment would take effect in 2024. Hogan's term ends in 2022. Well, if you're going to the polls in Maryland, wear a mask. A Hartford County man got that message loud and clear. Daniel Swain of Falston was arrested after he refused to wear a mask inside a polling station. According to the Baltimore Sun, Swain was arrested for trespassing and failure to comply with a health emergency after he refused to leave a Jarrettsville vote center. Well, Amy Coney Barrett has been confirmed to the U.S. Supreme Court. President Trump's choice to fill the vacancy of Ruth Bader Ginsburg was sworn in last night at the White House. She was sworn in by Justice Clarence Thomas. Monday's vote in the Senate was 52-48. No Democrats voted for the nominee, and one Republican, Susan Collins of Maine, broke ranks with the GOP. Some fear abortion rights and Obamacare could be threatened. Here's some of what Barrett had to say.
My fellow Americans, even though we judges don't face elections, we still work for you. It is your Constitution that establishes the rule of law and the judicial independence that is so central to it. The oath that I have solemnly taken tonight means at its core that I will do my job without any fear or favor, and that I will do so independently of both the political branches and of my own preferences.
Monday's confirmation vote was the closest ever to a presidential election. Well, Governor Larry Hogan continues to register high poll numbers. A recent survey by Gonzalez Research Services says Hogan has a 73% favorable rating. 76% of Democrats like the job he's doing. 71% of Republicans rate him favorably. The same survey says 82% of Democrats are worried about the coronavirus. 64% of Republicans say they are not. Well, the county relaunches a program to help rental properties hit hard by the pandemic. The Department of Housing's Emergency Rental Assistance Program is up and running again. The initiative provides financial assistance to landlords and property managers. Applicants can receive up to $1,800 a month for up to 6 months. The deadline to submit an application is Tuesday, November 10. Well, Prince George's police are looking for a missing man. This is 56-year-old Victor Carter. He was last seen in a 13,800 block of Captain Marbury Lake yesterday. Carter is about 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighs about 165 pounds. He was seen wearing a beige hat and shirt and black sweatpants. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is asked to contact police. Are you a young adult looking for a job? The Maryland Multicultural Youth Center in Riverdale is providing free job readiness services for county residents through its workforce program. It's helping residents 16 to 24 years old with resume writing, mock interview training, and job placement. The organization is also offering a free GED preparation course for 18 to 24-year-olds.
It's super important to get them ready to be able to obtain a job as soon as they graduate, or if they have been disconnected from school for a really long time, for them to get reconnected with employment. We do work one-on-one with them to create a resume, a cover letter, help them apply to the jobs. We go step by step with them in order to get them started.
Due to the pandemic, all of the services are being conducted virtually. For more information, call 301-531-5153 or email katia@layc-dc.org. Well, if you're heading out to buy gifts for your loved ones this holiday season, state officials encourage you to shop locally. Controller Peter Francho kicked off his annual Shop Maryland for the Holidays campaign yesterday. Francho and leaders from the state's retail and restaurant industries say it's important to support local businesses. Francho says several Maryland-based credit unions will offer reward points to members who shop locally. Well, a Virginia woman teamed up with her 5-year-old son to write a children's book about the house at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Keisha Butts has our story.
What letter is this?
B is for blue room.
Meet Rocco and Eris Smyrny, the mother and son duo who co-wrote a book of ABCs called The White House Alphabet. As you probably guessed, this book is about 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Eris Smyrny works at the White House Historical Association. She says she worked with a nonprofit to teach youngsters and even adults the history of this famous residence.
it allows for a lot of conversation, you know, and that's been really nice too, from talking about careers at the White House to transportation to, you know, recognizing different buildings, because we do live in the DMV area, you know, so when you see the picture of the Capitol, he recognizes that. His father works at the Capitol.
I like, okay, where's the page? Oh, here it is. H for helicopter. It's actually, it takes presidents to a far place.
His little face in the Oval Office is what I like.
Wait, where's the Oval Office?
Right there.
Right, oh, yeah.
So I like seeing Rocco right there. I think that's very precious.
The Smyrnies say this book took about a year to create. For more information, visit whitehousehistory.org. This is Keisha Butts with CTV News. Back to you.
What letter is this?
D is for diplomatic room.
That's right, the diplomatic reception room.
Hey, I was going to say reception.
Diplomatic reception room, where the president greets leaders of other countries.
Well, Metro wants to know what riders think about possible name changes at 2 of its stations. Officials in Fairfax and Prince George's counties are requesting the name changes. If jurisdictions believe a Metro station name is no longer serving its purpose, a city or county can ask for a name change. Fairfax County wants to change Tyson's Corner Station to Tyson's Station, and Prince George's wants to change Prince George's Plaza to Hydesville Crossing. The request will be considered by the Metro Board of Directors, but riders can weigh in at wamata.com/survey. Let's get a quick check on our weather forecast. Tonight, cloudy with a chance of showers and a low around 53 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a high near 66 and a low of 57. Thursday, rainy with a high near 67 and a low of around 47. Friday, mostly cloudy and cool with a slight chance of showers. Daytime temps reach a high near 54 and the evening low of about 36 degrees. And now for the community calendar. Looking for traditional fall festivities? Enjoy a safe day at Montpelier Farm during their fall festival and weekend play days. Get lost in a corn maze, feed animals, bowl with pumpkins, search for gems, and more. The farm is open for weekdays, play days, Monday through Thursday from 10 until 7 p.m. To buy tickets, visit MontpelierFarms.com. Remember, masks are required. And that's our news for tonight. Thank you. I'm Byron Scott. Join us again tomorrow.
For the latest information on COVID-19 in Maryland, visit the State Health Department website. That's health.maryland.gov. Again, health.maryland.gov. Click the link to the COVID-19 Information portal. There you'll find all the latest information about coronavirus. You'll find daily updates on cases and fatalities. Answers to questions about testing and the governor's stay-at-home order are available as well. For specific information about Prince George's, visit princegeorgescountymd.gov. That's princegeorgescountymd.gov. The site offers information about local services for residents and businesses. There's a link for COVID-19 relief donations. Also, food pantry locations are listed. And if you have any questions, call the county COVID-19 hotline at 301-883-6627. That's 301-883-6627.
My God.
It's another sad day in America.
Painful to be introduced to George Floyd during his last breath with the cop's knee on his neck. He deserves so much more.
How many black lives have to be taken before something is done?
We are not a threat.
I am shaking as I type.
This has got to stop.
We are sick of it.
We need conviction.
I just want us all to live.
The deaths will not stop until the powers that be are finally held accountable.
Don't look away from the truth until every one of us are free from white supremacy.
The world stands with you.
Criminalizing and killing of black and brown bodies is not new. It's as old as America. It's just getting filmed more.
Do you know what it feels like to be hunted? To have a new hashtag for a dead black person every single day? How does one plan a life if they aren't sure they will have a life to plan?
Tarisha Armstrong, Deborah Dan,
Nina Pop, Stephen Clark, Megan, Nia Wilson,
Keisha Mike,
Christopher Dion,
George Floyd. His name was George Floyd. Say his name.
Say his name.
George Floyd. Say his name.
Say their names. Once again and always, we fight for justice. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Rest in power, beautiful.
Go to blacklivesmatter.com.